in the heart of a vast, uncharted jungle, where the trees stretched as far as the eye could see, and the moon lit up the night sky like a glowing lantern, there lived a group of animals who believed in the impossible. This was no ordinary jungle, for it held a secret so magical that it could take anyone who dared to dream beyond the stars. The legend of the jungle said that anyone brave enough to climb the highest mountain at the center of the jungle and make a wish under the full moon would have their deepest desires come true. This mountain, known as the Mountain of Dreams, was surrounded by treacherous terrain, dangerous beasts, and obstacles that tested the strength, courage, and determination of anyone who tried to reach it. In a small village on the edge of the jungle lived a young girl named Faye. Faye was different from the others in her village. While most children spent their days playing and laughing, Faye would sit under the tall banyan tree, staring up at the sky, dreaming of things beyond her reach. She had heard the legend of the Mountain of Dreams many times, but unlike the others, she believed it with all her heart. Faye's dream was not one of riches or fame. Her dream was to see her mother again. Years ago, her mother had passed away, leaving her with a pendant, a small silver moon that Faye wore around her neck every day. Her mother had always told her stories about the moon, how it watched over them and guided their paths, even in the darkest times. One evening, as Faye sat by the river, gazing at her reflection in the water, she saw the full moon rise in the sky, brighter and more radiant than she had ever seen it. Something deep inside her stirred, and she knew it was time. She had to make the journey to the Mountain of Dreams and ask the moon for her one wish, to reunite with her mother. Faye packed a small bag with food, water, and her pendant. She knew the journey would be dangerous, but she was determined. As she ventured into the jungle, the familiar sights of her village faded away, and she found herself surrounded by towering trees, the calls of animals echoing through the air. On the first day of her journey, Faye encountered a mischievous monkey named Bao Bao. Bao Bao swung down from the trees, curious about the stranger in the jungle. "Where are you going, little one?" he asked with a grin. "I'm going to the Mountain of Dreams," Faye replied, her voice steady. Bao Bao laughed. "The Mountain of Dreams? That's just a legend. No one has ever made it there." Faye shook her head. "I will make it. I have to." Bao Bao, intrigued by her determination, decided to join her. "Well, if you're going to try, you might as well have some company. Besides, I know the jungle like the back of my hand." And so, with Bao Bao by her side, Faye continued her journey. As they ventured deeper into the jungle, they encountered many challenges. The dense foliage made it difficult to navigate, and the jungle was filled with hidden dangers. On the second day, they came across a river that was too wide to cross. Faye stared at the rushing water, unsure of what to do. Just as she was about to give up, a majestic bird with shimmering feathers swooped down from the sky. "I am Fen Huang," the bird said in a melodic voice. "I can help you cross the river, but only if you prove your kindness." Without hesitation, Faye offered Fen Huang some of her food. "Please, take this. We don't have much, but I am grateful for your help." Fen Huang nodded, impressed by Faye's generosity. "Very well. Climb on my back and I will carry you across." With Bao Bao holding on tight, they soared over the river, the wind rushing through their hair. On the other side, they thanked Fen Huang, who gave them a warning before flying away. "Beware of the darkness that lies ahead. It will test not only your strength, but your heart." Faye and Bao Bao pressed on, the jungle growing thicker and darker. As night fell, they found themselves in a part of the jungle where the trees seemed to close in around them, their branches twisting like claws. A cold wind blew through the air, and Faye felt a chill run down her spine. Suddenly, they heard a voice. "Why do you seek the Mountain of Dreams?" A figure emerged from the shadows, a great black panther with piercing green eyes. It was the guardian of the jungle, a creature of legend who was said to protect the Mountain of Dreams from those unworthy of its magic. "I seek the mountain to make a wish," Faye said, her voice trembling but resolute. "I want to see my mother again." The panther circled her, its eyes gleaming in the moonlight. "Many have come before you with wishes of their own, but the mountain does not grant wishes to those who are not worthy. What makes you think you are?" Faye took a deep breath. "My wish is not for wealth or power. I only wish to see my mother again, to tell her how much I love her and to thank her for all she did for me. I believe the moon can help me." The panther paused, considering her words. "Your heart is pure, but the path to the mountain is still fraught with danger. You must face your greatest fear before you can reach the summit." With that, the panther disappeared into the shadows, leaving Faye and Bao alone in the darkness. As they continued their journey, Faye couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching them. The jungle seemed to grow more sinister with every step, the trees whispering secrets she couldn't understand. On the fourth day, they reached the base of the Mountain of Dreams. The towering peak loomed above them, its summit hidden by clouds. Faye felt a mixture of excitement and fear. She had come so far, but the hardest part of her journey was still ahead. As they began their ascent, the wind picked up and the temperature dropped. Faye's hands trembled as she climbed over rocks and boulders, her muscles aching with the effort. Bao Bao, though usually full of energy, was silent, sensing the gravity of the situation. Halfway up the mountain, a storm rolled in. Thunder rumbled in the distance and lightning flashed across the sky. Faye's heart raced as the wind howled around them, threatening to knock them off the mountain. "We have to find shelter," Bao Bao shouted over the wind. They spotted a small cave and hurried inside just as the rain began to pour. Inside the cave, Faye collapsed onto the ground, exhausted. She closed her eyes, trying to steady her breathing, but when she opened them, she found herself no longer in the cave. Instead, she stood in a field of golden flowers, the air warm and fragrant. In the distance, she saw a figure walking toward her. Faye's heart skipped a beat as the figure came closer, and she recognized the familiar face. "Mother?" Faye whispered, her voice filled with emotion. Her mother smiled, her eyes soft and kind, just as Faye remembered. "My dear Faye," she said, her voice like a melody. "You've come so far." Tears welled up in Faye's eyes. "I've missed you so much. I wanted to see you again, to tell you how much I love you." Her mother reached out and gently touched Faye's cheek. "I've always been with you, Faye. I'm in the moon that lights your way, in the stars that guide you, and in the wind that carries your dreams. You don't need the mountain to see me." Faye's heart swelled with emotion as she realized the truth. Her mother had never truly left her. She had been with her all along, in her memories, in her heart, and in the love they had shared. "I understand now," Faye said softly. "I don't need to make a wish. You're always with me." Her mother smiled and nodded. "That's right, and now it's time for you to return. You have a journey to finish." With that, the vision faded, and Faye found herself back in the cave, the storm still raging outside. Bao Bao looked at her, concerned. "Are you okay?" Faye smiled, wiping away her tears. "Yes, I'm more than okay." The storm eventually passed, and they continued their climb. When they finally reached the summit, the full moon hung low in the sky, casting a silver glow over the mountain. Faye stood at the edge, looking out at the vast jungle below, and for the first time in a long while, she felt at peace. She didn't need to make a wish after all. The journey had taught her that the love of those we've lost never truly fades. It lives on in our hearts, guiding us through even the darkest of times. As Faye and Bao Bao made their way back down the mountain, the moon shone brightly above them, lighting their path. Faye knew that her mother was watching over her, and that was enough. And so, the legend of the Mountain of Dreams lived on, not as a place where wishes were granted, but as a place where one could discover the strength, love, and wisdom that had always been within them.